And we are off to game number 1 in the final round of 16 series between, well, for Double Cup 3. This is the single elimination round of 16 stage already, and we have TaToH with Italians, Dziamdziak with Italians as well, and this is Enemy Islands, one of my favorite maps. We'll see each player begin with 1 TC in each island, and then they're going to have to face their opponent in 2 places at the same time. So, before we continue though, before we go any further, I'm just going to switch Dziamdziak over to the blue color so that it's not a pain in the butt to actually see the player in the minimap. So yeah. There we are. Limits here for TaToH. And players just trying to keep the TCs from going idle, of course, at the very beginning. So this is not the same as what we were seeing from Warlords. The players will begin instead with 3 villages around each TC. It's going to be pretty standard unless you're playing with Chinese or Mayans, I believe. So it's going to be a little bit slower. You obviously cannot keep both TCs working from the get-go 100% of the time. You will rack up a little bit of idle TC time. So it's going to be a little bit slower, and then again, because of the fact that usually on double TC start maps, players do not really find it very valuable to go for feudal aggression, right? So we are often seeing players just fast castle, which means that it's going to be a little bit of a slower game because of that. But anyway, right now, see the board go down over here from TaToH down the south. He's been collecting the board. Doesn't seem like a double TC start is going to represent that much of a challenge for some of these players anymore. Okay, Dziamdziak's going for the board now. He's paying attention, yes. And then on the right hand side, just been collecting turkeys. Alright, Bailo, sleep well, sleep tight. Hey, Holzworm. Yeah, and Dziamdziak's certainly been taking a little bit of a longer time to get the boards in. Meanwhile, TaToH's just going for this one already, and I think he already collected the 2 from his base down the south. Yeah, most likely. Yeah, well done. Board's going down. Beautiful. And Dziamdziak still has not collected the boards on the right hand side. He's trying to be very careful over here. Let me take a look at the APM from both these guys to see why Dziamdziak's being so careful. He seems to have a comparable APM compared to TaToH, even if obviously that is not necessarily going to represent paying attention to the same type of things or being able to pay attention to many different things. He could be very quickly switching between 2 tasks, while TaToH is at a very similar pace, switching between 3 tasks, for instance, but it doesn't seem like APM per se might be the issue over here. Dziamdziak was just a little bit too respectful of the double TC start over here, as we have seen already in the past. So many players lose villages just trying to go for the boards. Dziamdziak's not going to be the one to lose a villager in game number 1, that is. Yeah, and he's taking his time, but he's taking the second board on the right hand side, finally. Once we are past this series, we are going to be completely caught up for the first stage of the tournament. So for the, you know, double elimination round of 16 stage. And we'll be moving on to the quarterfinals. So starting Monday, so starting tomorrow, at about 17 GMT, we'll be casting 2 additional sets from the round of 8. For anybody who might not have kept up quite as much. And we will take a look. Actually, it's going to be 1 round of 8 series, and it's going to be 1 lower bracket series as well. So we're going to have ACCM versus Dark coming up, as well as Thunder Needle versus Overtaken as well. That's going to be the plan for tomorrow anyway. And back to this game. Players have been taking their sweet time And it's interesting to see that a double TC start is actually slower to begin than the 9 villager start that we have been seeing on Valhalla, on Warlords, of course, inspired by Deepwater's gaming format, which they introduced way back in, I think, 2020, I think. Were the first guys to introduce the game mode, and with Deepwater's League popularized a little bit, eventually being adopted by other tournament hosts too. So Fuel H is coming out for Dziamdziak, and TaToH on the other hand, he's getting almost enough resources to go up to the Fuel H. He's playing Italians though, so that discount, well, both players are playing Italians, so the discount that both players get to go up to the next stage might allow them to fast castle just a little bit smoother over here. We'll see. There we are. So far pretty uneventful. Until we get to the castle age, that's most likely going to be the case. So it's lower to start, but you should be at the very least transitioning into the castle age earlier. You should be transitioning into the Imperial Age earlier on the double TC start, so it's going to be slower to get to the action, but we are going to get to stronger units, better techs and whatnot significantly earlier, even when compared to the 9 villager start. There we are, Fuel H is here for Dziamdziak. He doesn't have, though, enough resources to click out to the castle age. He's gonna start collecting stone. Interesting. He's got the blacksmith in the market coming up. If he sells the stone, he's gonna be able to go up sooner for sure. But TaToH's eco is significantly stronger. His eco balance has been so strong. And he's going for the stable and the blacksmith. No market, no necessary. And he'll be off to the castle age very soon. As a matter of fact, TaToH's economy is so strong right now that he would have been able to fast castle with any civilization, and it was not really banking on the discount over here from Italians to go up whatsoever. Oh, nice snipe over here from TaToH. Not really snipe, he just managed to get a better trade. Stable south, so he's gonna start going for scouts. Meanwhile, we see also Dziamdziak starts to go for fire galleys, while TaToH is going for fire galleys, but he's going for a very small amount of units. While TaToH on the other hand, Dziamdziak, sorry, on the other hand, was producing from up to 4 docks at a time. TaToH is just producing from 1 dock at a time only, and it seems like he's just gonna try to prioritize land for the most part. Might end up getting a village down over here. That is a very, very good unit control for TaToH in the end. Dziamdziak should be able to get the quick walls up over here and prevent the villager from going down, but if he doesn't, then TaToH can keep on roaming around, potentially find that villager later. For the time being, it's just gonna keep on roaming and see if he can find any extra exposed economy elsewhere. No, he's going back to the villager. He's ignoring the villager. This kind of damage though, you know, getting 1 villager here, 1 villager there, can really add up. So definitely would have liked to see TaToH try to commit to it a little bit more. But now that we have a spearman from Dziamdziak, it's a little bit too late for TaToH to try and keep on going for the villager anymore. At the very least, not until he gets maybe the light cavalry upgrade or maybe a few extra scouts. Doesn't seem like he's really prioritizing much of that at all. As we saw, Dziamdziak was going for significantly more navy units compared to TaToH, so he will be the one to push TaToH away from the water down the south. TaToH doesn't really seem to have the resources or the buildings over here, or the production, to ward Dziamdziak's units off, so he's most likely going to end up losing some of the finished ships over here, and probably taking some losses in terms of navy. Up in the north, Dziamdziak's fire galleys over here are not upgraded yet. Seems like he's going to end up getting cleaned up for the most part, giving control from TaToH, and it's a little bit sloppy from Dziamdziak, not gonna lie. losing the fire ships over here. He didn't need to lose these. He could have just bailed. Pull the units off. Here we go. Husbandry's on the way now for TaToH as well, so he certainly shows higher priority on land unit production compared to Navy. But he's even still not able to really go for too many extra units compared to Dziamdziak, for instance. He's behind in Navy production, but then he's also behind in land production. Take a look, he's got 4 knights, meanwhile Dziamdziak's got 8 knights. He's got production coming from 2 stables as well. And it seems to me like it's probably just TaToH struggling with eco balance over here. Despite the fact that he was looking very strong for his economy win, having enough to click up to the castle age. If you take a look now at both these players, TaToH has been just floating with non-stop. He's been missing all other resources, so Dziamdziak's been able to get a little lead over here. He's got extra workers. He's got not extra workers, he's got extra military units. The worker is going to be a little bit higher for TaToH, the worker count. Oh, nice sneak though from Dziamdziak. TaToH was completely open down the south. And my lord, he gets pushed away from the woodline, loses 2 villages over here. There is nothing on land down the south that's going to allow TaToH to go for a counter push of the same magnitude. Dziamdziaks at all. Down the south, we get a conversion over here for TaToH, so that's good. And at the very least, it's going to be left in 2 knights over here versus 2 knights himself against Dziamdziak too. But he's already been on the back foot over here, taking pressure, and definitely seems like Dziamdziak's in the driver's seat over here. At the very least, down south, he's been looking very strong. Up in the north with his navy units, he's been looking very strong as well. Absolutely fantastic. There we go, nice conversion over here for TaToH. Castle on the way now for Dziamdziak on the right hand side, and TaToH's collecting stone quite heavily. He's already got the first castle foundation up in the north, but he'll be under a lot of pressure. This could be one of those situations where the players just trade islands, and then Dziamdziak gets the right hand side island, and TaToH is able to push Dziamdziak down on the left hand side. Now the thing is, usually you see the players counter pushing each other, and this time around TaToH's going for the castle back home, so he's not really putting too much pressure against Dziamdziak to speak of. In worker count, he catches up in military count as well, and it's just been the pressure. This is what I was talking about. Dziamdziak's not really been able to put as much pressure as you think he should have been able to, given the military count that he was on before, right? And TaToH, in the end, he realizes he's going to lose the knight engagement over here, the knight trade, so he's just going to try to trade for villages instead, and he will end up getting a few extra villagers. In the end, it's going to be about 3 villages going down, so he can lose the knights over here, but he's already managed to do damage. Dziamdziak stabilizes, and he's got enough resources to click up to the Imperial Age, so he should be on his way very soon, while TaToH, not so much. Instead, he's going to go for another castle on the left-hand side. This one is a forward castle, though. This one will allow him to breach through the palisades, come in straight into Dziamdziak's base, and because he's got now, yeah, Genoese crossbows coming out. More knights, more units. being produced on the left-hand side. It's going to allow him to put pressure against Dziamdziak. And then on water, TaToH is going to get a lot of fishing ships down over here. Dziamdziak had this area completely unprotected, despite the fact that he does have a good amount of Navy units still. Interestingly enough, TaToH, and this time we weren't really paying attention to water too much, has managed to get ahead in Navy count. Third castle on the way for TaToH. This one is going to be defensive on the right-hand side. And as the Genoese crossbows are coming in, the castle's coming out from TaToH. He'll be able to breach through, start putting pressure against Dziamdziak, who's fallen behind in worker count by quite a lot. And even if Dziamdziak's up to the Imperial Age earlier, I think the pressure from TaToH on the left-hand side is actually going to be just as strong, if not stronger, despite the fact that he's only going up to the Imperial Age now. Dziamdziak's second castle coming up over here. Once he gets to the Imperial Age, he'll be able to go for 2 trebuchets at a time, take this castle down pretty easily, go after the PCs as well, and then TaToH's gonna be left on no defenses whatsoever over here. So it's very important for TaToH to try and maximize how many resources he can collect from his base down the south over here, while still trying to keep on putting pressure on the left-hand side. If he's able to suppress Dziamdziak just as heavily as Dziamdziak's suppressing him on the right-hand side, this is going to be a somewhat even trade, and because TaToH is going to be so much stronger, he should be left in a better position, but we'll see. As a matter of fact, something that we can take a look at though is the villager count over here for both these players. So, for instance, the blue player's got 57 villagers over here. Now, that's a very nice raid coming in from TaToH, trying to prevent the castle from coming out. Not going to be able to, as Dziamdziak's getting the walls up just in time. He'll be able to get the castle up, but yeah, 54 villagers or so for the blue player on the left-hand side, and then TaToH's got like 60 villagers on the right-hand side. But yeah, it doesn't matter though. Even if TaToH loses all 60 villagers on the right, he'll still be left on 96 villagers from the left. While if Dziamdziak loses the 54 villagers on the left-hand side, it's gonna be left on less than 30. I would have thought the blue player would have built a defensive castle on the other island a lot sooner. Yeah, the castle's only up now. Fortunately for him, TaToH's still not in the Imperial Age, so he cannot go for trebs. Unfortunately for Dziamdziak though, he doesn't really have the defense over here to defend trebuchets and go for trebuchets himself to try and take the castles down from TaToH. So on the right hand side, very likely TaToH will end up losing one castle over here, perhaps even both castles, although it seems like Dziamdziak's been struggling for treb production. He's got a single one over here despite a significant head start to the Imperial Age. So TaToH might hold on over here, you know? He's got another castle coming up on the right hand side, and then on the left, he's got no trebuchets coming up whatsoever, just conscription. Capped ram, chemistry, as well as fast fire ships. Embracer coming out. TaToH seems like he's gonna try and get full water control, and by the looks of it, he should be able to get it. If you take a look at Dziamdziak, it's only being able to keep on going for fire ships. No fast fire ship upgrade coming out for the blue player whatsoever. TaToH goes for Pavisa now. These Genoese crossbows will be significantly stronger. He's got chemistry coming up right now. Still no trebuchets being produced, just a Pavisa upgrade coming up on the left hand side, and then on the right hand side over here. Yeah, TaToH lost the castle, as we were expecting to be the case, but he's got 2 additional castles to keep on defending himself with. Absolutely fantastic. There we go. Beautiful. Architecture's coming in for TaToH right now. He's finally gotten the trebuchet out on the left hand side as well. He's got bombard cannons coming out right now, and this is... Oh man, this is just... Dziamdziak's so deep in the sand. He calls it GG over here. We were expecting this to be the case. After TaToH managed to get such a substantial economy lead over Dziamdziak, of course, it was just a matter of time. So well played, TaToH won, Dziamdziak nil. Let's go through the achievements and then jump into game number 2 right away. We'll see what we get. But going through the achievements for game number 1, we'll see a better KD for TaToH, approaching a 21 to 20 KD ratio. Gonna see for economy as well. A 21 to 10 KD ratio, sorry. We're gonna see for economy as well. A much stronger economy for TaToH, collecting about 19,000 extra resources actually. Holy moly. Damn, actually more than 19,000 extra resources. Significant lead for TaToH this game. Even if he was a little bit later to the Imperial Age. We'll see for society that TaToH ends up getting so far ahead in villager count towards the end of the game over here. Not even close. Up until that point, yeah, 50-50. Afterwards, Dziamdziak tried to prioritize going up to the Imperial Age. TaToH started getting map control once again with land units and water units as well. He ends up getting ahead in work account. And that's going to be it for game number 1. Let's go back and wait for 2. And OBS, of course, gotta just completely choke my computer right now. Oh my lord. Is it fixing itself? Okay, it's fixing itself. This once again, I'm sorry about that. I think it's probably just a bug from Stream Effects not being technically production ready. It's just in alpha state right now, but because of OBS 28, kind of don't really have an option much other than just going back to OBS 27, but I'd rather not. For game number 2, TaToH's gonna play Lithuanians and Dziamdziak's playing with Berbers. Now, Webakoyotl talked to me the other day. Well, actually, I think he came on the stream and he said in the chat, Dziamdziak just asked me about 4 quarters, so I think he might end up using it as home map. They were about to play their set. At that point in time, I think we were probably covering something else. I think we were probably covering the qualifiers of Warlords. So this is very interesting indeed. This was the first instance of quarters being used, 4 quarters being used on Double Cup, and then eventually, you know, the other series that used 4 quarters, which we saw earlier, not today, but earlier in the week, was the second instance of this map being utilized. This is a wild one, guys. This is definitely not for the faint of heart. If you take a look, each player is going to begin with 4 TCs. Towards the south, the economy is going to consist mostly of fishing. You do have wood over here, but that's going to be the case for also pretty much every other quadrant towards the center, with the difference that this time you do have some patches of wood around this quarter of the map as opposed to just on the outside. But yeah, for the most part, players will just be collecting fish from here, right? So there are no quadruple boar lures over here with all 4 TCs at the same time. No. Left hand side and right hand side, we're gonna have minerals. On the left hand side, it's gonna be mainly stone. On the right hand side, it's gonna be mainly gold. Actually, only gold on the right hand side. On the left hand side, it's going to be mainly stone, but with some gold. And then up in the north, that's where we are going to have our resources for food, for standard food. So we have berries, we have hunting, we have boars as well. And now TaToH's going for the first boar. Well done. Yes. Yeah, and I don't think Dziamdziak's gone for the boars yet, right? Probably not. This is triple TC start though? What? Wait, it's quadruple. Yes, it is quadruple. Regardless. Yeah, and it's going to be pretty uneventful until the players eventually manage to go up to the fuel age. So it's going to get insane for the time being, it's just meh. But yeah, it's pretty difficult to manage 4 TCs at the same time. And if you take a look at the LTC time from both these guys, that's quite telling. Dziamdziak has way more possible access to gold than TaToH. Is that so? It's only 1 TaToH TC against 3 nearby Dziamdziak TCs. Ah, right. So if Dziamdziak ends up chopping through, he'll have 2 TCs actually facing the gold side. Yeah, that is true. I hadn't realized about that. True, true. That's probably something to let the guys know. See if they could change this. To be fair though, it's gonna take such a long time for them to chop through. I'm not really sure if it's going to matter too much. At the very least, probably for this game it's not going to make much of a difference, but if you had a much closer matchup, for instance, I guess it could make a big difference. They can undercut. Yeah, true. They would have to get to the Imperial Age, but they could. They could go for the undercut. And Dziamdziak. Yeah, Dziamdziak's been collecting some of the boars so far. Not lost a single villager, so that's good. Village on the way for both these players. We will see them both go out to the castle age right away as well. If we see them fast castle on double TC star, there's no reason why they wouldn't go for the same strat on quadruple TCs, where your economy is going to grow even faster. I mean, take a look at this. 91 to 83 workers for TaToH and Dziamdziak, less than 10 minutes into the game. There we go. The same for the economy for Dark Age? Yeah, absolutely. And there we are, Castle Age is on the way now for TaToH and for Dziamdziak as well. 90 villagers into feudal, interesting. Yeah, even getting higher than that. I'm going out to the Castle Age. Bam! Huge shot from TaToH, going right up to the villagers and bang! Another good demo shot over here. This is something that we saw last time around in the previous 4 quadrant game as well that we saw earlier this week. And it seems to be extremely, extremely effective, of course. There's another demolition raft coming up. But you know what? I'm just going to pause this for a moment because OBS is so bugged. It's bringing my GPU up to 100%. And it's causing capture H to stutter, so I'm just going to wait for a second. Sorry about this. And if you're watching this on YouTube as well, I'm sorry about that. On YouTube, you can probably just skip a few seconds over here. But what the hell, man? 100% GPU usage again. It's so bugged. I'm gonna try and resolve this after the stream. Seems to be happening almost every game. Is this quadruple TC start? Yes, that is correct, sir. There we go. It's fixed. Let's go. And let's take a look, because TaToH so far has been taking advantage of the demos. He's getting some good shots. Let's see. If he detonates, yes, he gets the villager down anyway, so that was a good one from TaToH. Well done. He almost destroys the palisades too. And this is just one of the quadrants. Now Dziamdziak's gonna try. He's gonna try to match TaToH. He's going for his own demo raft over here. So when in TaToH's map, do as TaToH does. Two villages go down over here from TaToH as well, so maybe Dziamdziak's not being able to get quite as many villages down with demolition rafts, but he was still able to get some villages down over here with just standard military. The rafts are over here still for TaToH though, and providing great defenses. We'll see the knights go down over there, all of them. Yeah, he's saving this one because the castle's coming up already. On the left hand side, there's a castle on the way for TaToH. There's a castle on the way for TaToH down the south as well. And then on the right hand side, there's a second TC coming up for TaToH, who's being pressured by Dziamdziak's knights. And that is the thing about this map. You have to pick your battles. You cannot fight in all four places at the same time. Not effectively, that is. Usually, you're just gonna have to choose. Do you want to go for a big push in one of the quadrants and most likely to not get a lead, or do you want to try and put pressure on all quadrants at the same time but not have quite as much to work with? And so far it seems like Dziamdziak's chosen to go the first route, as he's got a lot of extra units on this quadrant in the right hand side compared to any of the other quadrants we have seen in the game, and he's got more knights coming in. Only scale Barden armor though, +1/+1, no chain Barden armor just yet. Without +2/+2, these knights are not particularly resilient against DC fire, so he's gonna have to bail. If he had chain Barden armor, a few extra knights over here, he would have been able to bring them over and take the TC down already, but without the +2/+2, no chance. Should have mass demos and mass a piece of TC. I mean, he can still go for that, it's just that he's choosing not to. He's got Light Chai coming up on the left hand side. Sorry, down the south TaToH, that is. Up in the north, we don't really have too much pressure over here. It seems like Dziamdziak's got two stables, but he wouldn't be able to produce from both these stables if he wants to still keep on putting pressure on the right hand side. Oh, but a defensive castle from TaToH makes it so much harder for Dziamdziak to keep on raiding around. And even if Dziamdziak ends up getting a few villages down over here and actually equalizing the eco-KV, the fact that TaToH's being prioritized in economy over here for the most part will still leave him on a higher worker count, despite the fact that Dziamdziak's KD over here for economy has been about the same as TaToH's. No extra demos for the red player whatsoever. He's got a castle coming up in the north, so that's going to be 4 castles already for TaToH, who's been just banking on the fortifications to defend himself. Dziamdziak's just been going for military. Knights everywhere. Up in the north, on the right hand side. Down the south, not so much, but he's got the stable, so he could go for it. Take a look at this. Dziamdziak's going for demolition rafts. He's got 5 over here. Could potentially try and go masterpiece TaToH's TC, but I don't think it's going to be the case. I think he's just gonna use these for defense. There we go. We have the Light Chai coming in on the right hand side. Down the south, nothing about the demolition rafts over here is going to help Dziamdziak though. He's not paying attention. TC is, oh man, that was a good demolition raft shot, but it's not going to suffice. The Light Chai are still up over here and about. Now TaToH on the left hand side has a 4 castle coming up with extra Light Chai coming in as well. He's gonna be just fine. We'll start getting some villages down. And even if on the right hand side he gets cleaned up, he's already managed to do so much damage around the TC over here that it might not matter. The Eco KD now is favoring TaToH by quite a lot once again. Interestingly enough. Pretty obsessed about the one farm too. He ends up losing the Light Chai though to the TC, but he is paying attention elsewhere, so it's I would imagine understandable. Now with the castle up over here, his light ship production on the left hand side, his light ship production potential doubles up. It's like having the double stable that Dziamdziak has been using on all quadrants, but with much stronger units over here, of course. And now defensive castle is coming up for Dziamdziak. TaToH is not targeting the villagers. Not the ones that are trying to get the castle up instead. And because this CC is actually not garrisoned, you know what? TaToH would be able to take a lot of villages down over here, but he's probably paying attention on the right-hand side where there is another big engagement. Now there's a second castle coming up on the right-hand side from TaToH to double up his light ship production. Dziamdziak's certainly looking stronger on the right-hand side. And then on the left, TaToH still not paying attention, so the castle comes up for Dziamdziak. Down the south, looking good for TaToH. He's just gonna keep on going for light ship everywhere, as he's got at the very least one castle in each quadrant. 2 on the right, 2 on the left. Yeah, man, this pressure from TaToH is just out of this world. Despite the fact that Jam just got a discount, 15% discount on stable units in the castle age. If TaToH plays his cards right, he should be able to get better engagements over here, basically because he's got the castles. If Dziamdziak stops paying attention over here for 1 second, TaToH can bring the light chat back towards the castle range and take a much better engagement. Now, not like this though. This is bad from TaToH. He was probably paying attention elsewhere as he's trying to go for a 4 castle up in the north, as he's trying to get the raids going on the left hand side, and as he's trying to get the raids going down the south. You can see how this is certainly trying to, or starting to, overwhelm the players a little bit, overload them. APM a little bit higher for Dziamdziak, not by a lot though. And this castle will put a stop to Dziamdziak up in the north. Right hand side, TaToH's roaming around. I mean, there's so much to pay attention to. Dziamdziak realizes though, probably by the score lead over here from TaToH, that there is likely no way back into the game, especially if the castle up in the north went up. So he calls it GG, and this is gonna be 2-0 in favor of the Spaniard. He's going to move on to game number 3, already in, you know, match point. So let's go through the achievements really quickly over here, and we'll see. A stronger KD for TaToH by quite a bit. It's going to end up getting a better than 2-to-1 KD ratio, while if we take a look at the economy tab over here, we'll see that TaToH ends up collecting about 7,000 or so extra resources, 7,026 extra resources, if I'm not mistaken. And then for technology and society, we'll see faster uptime for TaToH to the fuel age. We'll see Dziamdziak get to the castle age a little bit sooner, just by 1 second over here. So it's not a particularly relevant difference over here for the players. And then for society, a higher worker max count for TaToH, and not even close. Not by a bit, by a lot. He got a 43 higher villager max count, with a total versus current villager count of 172 to 160. He ended up losing 12 villagers this game, while Dziamdziak lost 61 villagers throughout the game. For APM, we'll see a little bit of a higher APM for TaToH overall. And you might be thinking, well, aren't these players supposed to be extremely quick? How come they are only on less than 60 APM over here? Well, the thing is, your high APM usually relies on automatized systems in your brain that allow you to go extremely quickly about doing the same things that you do on a standard game over and over again. But because we have 4 TC start over here, it actually overwhelms the players, and they cannot rely on just the same cycle of actions that they would usually just automatically go through on a standard game start. So that is why. But then once the things kind of stabilize in the later stages of the game and the players just focus on military production and control and don't have to worry about economy too much, or even going for new buildings or whatever, this would usually start going higher and higher. As you can see over here, there is certainly the trend over here that the APM was getting higher. Here we are. Game number 3 is here. Dziamdziak, we're going to switch over to the red color. TaToH, we're going to keep in the blue. We'll see TaToH this time around playing in the northeast of the map, while Dziamdziak has got TCs towards the southwest. There we go. And for civilizations, TaToH's got Huns, Dziamdziak's got Lithuanians. So what do we get from these civs? Starting with TaToH, Huns will begin with 100 less wood compared to other civilizations, but he does have 200 population support from the get-go. Besides that, he also gets 20% cheaper cavalry archer units in the castle and imperial ages respectively, as well as 50% accuracy on trebuchets as opposed to 15%, although that's only going to matter in a treb war kind of situation for the most part. Team bonus for TaToH is also going to give him 20% faster working stable, so he can go for scouts faster compared to Dziamdziak civilization, for instance. And speaking of Dziamdziak Civ, we'll see for Lithuanians 150 extra food upon starting the game. Besides that, we'll see for the red player, with Lithuanians 10% faster moving skirm and spearline units. And then in addition to that, we're also gonna have for Dziamdziak civilization 1 extra attack on knights and Lycha units per each relic garrison up to 4 relics, with a team bonus being 20% faster working monasteries actually. So anyway, oh god. Guys, can you hear this? Can you hear that? That is remember the other day that I said the phone was dying? Well, let me tell you a little story before that, until the players get to the castle age. I used this phone from 2013 to control my stream. I have an application installed on it called Touch Portal, which is kind of like a stream deck. And yeah, you know, it's fabricated in 2013. It's extremely old. It's very tiny as well. They don't make these phones anymore. And actually, I was able to get a lot of juice out of it, so to say. But the other day, it started dying. It would just freeze randomly. Then I factory reset it, and then it started working alright for like, I don't know, a few days. And then it started freezing again randomly as well. And these days, it doesn't work anymore. I was just trying to turn it on right now, and that's the sound that it makes when it tries to turn on. It's kind of stuck right now in the Samsung splash screen, the logo. It's not even booting into the OS anymore. And the times that it does boot into the operating system, you try to swipe screens, and it just completely dies. I actually have a picture of it. I'm going to upload it to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook after the stream probably, so you can see. It actually looks like a... It's like a glitch graphics thing. I imagine the graphics chip's probably toast. And yeah, it looks like a glitch in the Matrix. It's dead! It's dead, yes. Thankfully, I do have another phone. This one from 2015, mind you, so a little bit newer. That I just downloaded the same application on, and I've been using to control the stream. But this one is also kind of half dead. The power on button doesn't really work too well, so you cannot lock it and unlock it, so you just gotta wait for it to lock itself, and then you gotta use the home button to unlock it. So it's kind of busts you, and I'm hoping this Christmas I'll be able to get myself a new phone. But yeah, it's been quite a journey with the tiny one, the 3.5-inch screen one. Listen to that. It's making this sound now. What is that? It's completely bugged out. Oh my lord, let me just pull the battery out. This is just... It's dead. It's not even worth trying to turn it on anymore. Anyway, PLH is coming up, so a little bit of story time over there. Just to pass some time, and Dziamdziak's going up to the PLH. TaToH's gonna be on his way to the PLH very soon as well. Why Dziamdziak's Lithuanian again? The previous game TaToH was Lithuanians and Dziamdziak was Berbers. So he had 15% cheaper stable units, but TaToH was the one going for Lycha with all the castles. But yeah, this is hidden pick, no repeat. I'm sad Berbers lost. Yeah. Anyway, Felix is gonna be here very soon for Dziamdziak. He should be on his way to the Castle Age soon after as well. If we take a look at the relic location for relics around this map, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 relics, pretty evenly distributed around the map. And Dziamdziak should be able to secure at the very least 2 of these. This one is fairly close to his base. This one at the center is kind of contested. Where is it? Over here. It's kind of contested, but should be able to get it if he sets his mind to it as well. And then he's got one at the very back of his base, so he should be able to get up to 3 relics if he goes for it. And then if he can just snatch this one away from TaToH, that's going to be 4 relics for him. That'll be absolutely nuts. There we go. Second stable's coming out for TaToH, and Dziamdziak's gonna be a little bit earlier to the Castle Age. He does have the second stable coming up himself over here, and this is really good. He did end up getting a little bit of extra idle TC time though compared to TaToH, so right now the blue player is ahead in work account. Although he's catching up right now in idle TC time as well. See, TaToH was trying to go for the village over there, not really gonna be able to achieve too much, unfortunately for him. Dziamdziak survives just fine. Oh, a villager goes down from Dziamdziak though. Was not expecting to see this one go down at all. And there we go. TaToH keeps on putting pressure. He gets yet another villager. So far, 3-1. Nikokedi. There is a counter push coming out from Dziamdziak on the back of TaToH's base. But not gonna be able to achieve anywhere near as much damage as TaToH defends masterfully with villagers. Gets the scout down, and he's gonna be the one player still in the driver's seat. Now that the Castle Age is here for Dziamdziak, he's got a 30C on the way. He's got a monastery on the way as well, and he'll begin trying to collect the relics. TaToH knows about the monastery coming up right now. He gets to the Castle Age, so what will he do to try and prevent Dziamdziak from getting the relics? He's got some scouts. He could potentially try and keep the scouts around the relics. But obviously this will not really work against knights, so he needs to start going for knight production himself. And he's going for it. Scout double stable knight production coming in over here. Meanwhile, the knights from Dziamdziak are coming over. They're going to be taking some villages down from TaToH. And even if TaToH ends up pushing the knights away, if Dziamdziak committed to it, he would have been able to get even more villagers down from the blue player. But not going to be the case. He's just getting completely pushed back. Oh, one extra villager goes down from TaToH. And Dziamdziak catches up in work account by getting a lot of extra idle TC time. For military count, Dziamdziak's looking a little bit stronger. You know, so far he's not collected a single relic, but he's got forging. If he gets a relic, that's gonna be already as good for him as having Iron Cast. And if he ends up getting the extra relics we were talking about earlier, that could make his army completely untouchable. It's 10-3, Kokedi favoring Dziamdziak. Yes, sir. The head start to the Castle Age certainly is coming over here with some advantages for Dziamdziak, as he's able to take advantage of it. Meanwhile, TaToH, on the other hand, taking a little bit longer to go up, given how close the players are, is the one to get punished. And we might see more villages go down right here. If Dziamdziak targets the weak one, he's just going to go past her. Never mind. Yeah, and you know, this is looking good for Dziamdziak. But then it was also kind of looking like that in game number 1. And TaToH was able to bring that one back, so we'll see. Defense for the blue player. Then on the left hand side, so the Knights taking on the villagers over here. Nicely done from TaToH. Trying to catch up, does end up finding a few additional villagers over here with 3 additional kills close to the TC. TaToH still behind in word count by 1. But you know what? He's starting to pull ahead in military count, and you know what? Despite being on 2 TCs versus 4 TCs from Dziamdziak, TaToH is getting ahead in work account. That's a lot of idle TC time over here for Dziamdziak. And to be fair, it's only 3 TCs for Dziamdziak, not 4. He's going for the 4th now, but still has been unable to keep all 3 TCs working while going for Knights, understandably. So yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle over here for Dziamdziak to keep things going. And TaToH starting to pull a nice military lead. Dziamdziak did manage to collect one of the relics though, so he's got +2 attack on these Knights. Meanwhile, TaToH's only on +1 because of forging. However, he could go for iron casting. He could go, you know, for also chain bar than armor. And the fact that he's got scale bar than armor over here versus Dziamdziak, who doesn't have any defense upgrade, means that the extra attack that Dziamdziak's got on his units because of the relic he collected kind of gets offset from the extra, you know, because of the extra defense that TaToH's got him from the +1/+1. Game has kind of stabilized a little bit with TaToH. TaToH's gonna try to keep on putting pressure everywhere. He's gonna try to overwhelm Dziamdziak. There's a lot of exposed economy over here, and the Knight is almost full HP. TaToH can do so much damage over there. He's taking an engagement on the left-hand side. Seems like he's going to end up winning this one as well. He's got more Knights compared to the red player, and I'm not really sure what Dziamdziak was doing over there, but many of his Knights were completely out of position, and now TaToH will end up taking this engagement. Does end up taking a lot of extra villagers with the isolated Knight that we talked about earlier as well. And TaToH's looking great. And take a look at this. That Knight has gotten so far 6 villages, and it's not going to be the end of that. Dziamdziak realizes about this, you know, this area of his economy being exposed only because of TaToH's extra Knights coming over here, but he's already been taking a lot of losses. And that's another village going down. Now TaToH's starting to overwhelm the red player, who cannot keep up with military production anymore, so TaToH's Knight count so much higher right now at 15 versus 4, and Dziamdziak simply cannot keep up. He cannot keep up. Even the conversions are completely insufficient from Dziamdziak, and well, he was looking a little bit stronger earlier in the Castle Age. He's going to keep on losing vills left, right, and center, and TaToH, so long as he plays his cards right over here, keeps on queuing the Knights, should be in a position to take game number 3. Not much, you know, not too long from now. Dziamdziak struggling to defend still, and TaToH, I do like that he's trying to keep all his units together, so it's easier for him to try and strike everywhere at once, and he doesn't need to worry about potential counter from Dziamdziak, or potential defense from Dziamdziak, because simply put, the amount of Knights for each player is very different, and TaToH's got a much stronger army, a much larger army over here compared to what Dziamdziak would be able to defend with, even if he pulled everything he had together. Yeah, there we go, extra villages going down, and Dziamdziak down to 59 workers, 58 workers, TaToH on 87, going for Sanctity, going for Chain bar than armor finally. Yeah, and with great momentum over here. Fails from the TC, but he's already gotten every villager that Dziamdziak couldn't garrison inside the TC. Meanwhile, the red player is got a counter push coming up over here. Just 1 Knight on the right hand side, and then up in the north about 5, 6 Knights. Is not going to suffice, as TaToH's got significantly more units coming out by the minute. Certainly looks like it could be over any second now, honestly. It seems like we are waiting for Dziamdziak to realize just how much of a lead there really is for TaToH, and the score is quite telling already. But yeah, of course, I guess once TaToH groups his army up and goes forward once again, similar to how he did before, that's probably gonna be speaking volumes to Dziamdziak about the might of TaToH's strength, and that's going to be exactly what it takes. As TaToH brings all the units over to the left-hand side together, Dziamdziak just goes on to call the GG, say good luck next. And TaToH moves on to the quarterfinal stage of Double Cup 3, while Dziamdziak gets pushed down to the lower bracket. So that's going to be 3-0 in favor of TaToH. And with this series, we are completely caught up for the double elimination round of 16 stage of the tournament. And tomorrow, guys, we're gonna continue going for more. For the time being, let's go through the achievements and we'll see a better KD for TaToH, about 9 to 10. Gonna see for economy 9 to 5, sorry. About for economy, we'll see a stronger economy for TaToH by quite a lot, over 4,000 extra resources, and for society, a higher villager max count for TaToH as well. So well done.